Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year! Welcome to our January Cub Scout Roundtable. I'm Vinny Close, Assistant Council Commissioner for Roundtable Program and Support for Great Trail Council, and we're happy that you joined us tonight. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started like we always do, with the Pledge of Allegiance, Scout Oath, and Scout Law. And leading us in that tonight, we have Cub Scouts from Pack 3186 in Cuyahoga Falls in the Crooked River District.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty, to God and my country, to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
All right, thanks, guys. It's one of the few times that you'll only see 4 deer out of Manitowoc. Usually you'll see them by the dozens on the parade field this time of year. All right, up next is our safety moment. And this month, we're going to take a minute to do an explainer on the news last month that came out regarding hazardous weather training. We know there was a lot of discussion, even on our council's social media, regarding the hazardous weather training and stuff like that. So we've got a slide that we're going to put up on screen that's going to help explain what is going on. And really, the only change that we want to note here, as our slide comes up. There we go. Okay, so the only thing that we really want to cover here is hazardous weather training has been required by Scouting since 2017 for all direct contact leaders. Now at the Cub Scout level, that is Cubmaster, Assistant Cubmaster, Den Leader, and Assistant Den Leader. Obviously you can read for all the other positions. Hazardous weather training is required to be considered position trained for your position. Now we do want to make a special note here too, because we want to point out that here in Great Trail Council, we require that all direct contact leaders be position trained. And we'll talk a little bit more in a second about implications and stuff on that. Another important thing to remember with hazardous weather training is at least one hazardous weather trained person must be present on all outings at all program levels. Whether you're Cub Scouts, Scouts BSA, Venturing, Sea Scouts, Exploring, whatever it happens to be, you need at least one hazardous weather trained person on every activity. Now, hazardous weather training, the lack of not having taken it does not impact your registration like youth protection training does. But here in Great Trail Council, it will in the future. We haven't worked out the mechanisms yet, but there will come a point where we will start sending out reminders that those direct contact leaders that have either not taken the training or need to retake it are going to need to do that in order to keep their membership. That's not happening right now. That is still a ways away, but we did want to at least point out that it is going to come at some point. Now, the training can only be taken online. There is no in-person course for this. I just took it myself not too long ago. It takes about an hour, hour and a half to do. Not very long at all. And it's valid for 2 years. Now the change is this. Starting last month, National began notifying everybody via email notification, or will be notifying them via email notification, when it expires, just like your youth protection notifications. That's the only thing that has changed, is you're going to get notified when it's expired or when it's going to expire. The other thing to note right now, and this is something that National knows about and their IT team is working on it, and that is that there are currently issues with the reporting. The reports now come out and say that you've got people that aren't fully trained, but yet it doesn't tell you what the training is that they need to take. That's the issue that they're working on right now to correct. In all likelihood, if somebody was trained 1 month and then all of a sudden in December it says they're not trained, it's most likely because of hazardous weather training. It may have been also that you took it so long ago that you took an old course and you need to retake it again. So, want to just point that out to everybody and let them know that's the changes. And again, the only main change to this is that you've had to take this, you've been required to take it since 2017. Now we're going to tell you when it has expired. Okay, we want to welcome those of you that have joined us online. We're happy that you've joined us tonight. And to help us track attendance, if you would do us a favor and share your pack number and city in the live chat, and maybe we'll give you a little shout out a little later on tonight. All right, up next is our membership moment. And tonight we're going to talk about inviting teachers to your celebrations. So have you ever considered inviting your children's teachers to your blue and gold ceremony or your Scouts BSA Court of Honor? It's a very simple thing to do. Teachers, principals, and PTO and PTA leaders are more likely to accept an invitation than you might think. Just send them an invitation a month or so in advance of your event. At the ceremony, make sure you announce their presence and ask them to sit with their students or former students. And here's a hint too, make a fuss over them over their presence. They'll get a kick out of it and the kids will love it too. This will give the Scouts a sense of pride in their teachers, and it will also show the teachers how much their students are learning because of their involvement in Scouting. It's also going to show to the Scouts that no, the teachers don't live in a closet in the back of the room, and they do go home at night and on weekends, and they do actually have lives outside of the classroom. An added bonus is that you will foster goodwill with the teachers, and the next time that you want to hold a recruitment event, you will more than likely have their support. It's also a fun way to let them see how good Scouting is for their students and to interact with their students' parents at the same time. The unit or Scout can give them a certificate thanking them for their attendance and for their support of Scouting. This simple idea is one of the ways that we can strengthen support and cooperation with our educational system. All right, next we've got some very quick updates. I promise they're very quick. Regarding registrations that we just completed and renewals, courtesy of our Council Commissioner Sherri Buck. She couldn't be with us tonight, but she is watching at home. Hi, Sherri. Hope you're feeling better. And she sends us this message. So she wants to thank all of our leaders for going through this new process with us, turning in the renewals and getting our members registered. Now, even though you turned your paperwork in, either directly to Council or at a district turn-in night, your renewals may not be processed yet due to the Council office being closed for the holiday. Now, our registrar has begun processing the backlog today and will make processing renewals a priority. You'll be notified by your district executive, unit or district commissioner, or our registrar of any missing signatures, monies due, or any missing paperwork. So, if you're waiting to see if everything's been posted yet and if you're good, give us a little bit of time. They're working through the backlog right now, and hopefully that'll get taken care of sooner than later. All right, next we have a video that we're going to show regarding our name change. You may have heard that the name for the Boy Scouts of America will be changing to Scouting America next month, and with that will mean a new domain name for our website and email here at Great Trail. So we've got a little explainer video to help get you ready for the new address that we'll begin using in the next few weeks. Let's take a look at that. now for our first of two hot topics for tonight, and it's a panel discussion on Scout Sunday, which is coming up next month. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with Scout Sunday, it's a day where we observe the importance of religion in scouting, and also to recognize the contributions of young people and adults to scouting. The day is usually held on the Sunday before February 8th, which is Scouting Anniversary Day, although religious organizations can ultimately choose whatever day is most acceptable to them as the day to celebrate. So this year would mean that Scout Sunday would traditionally be on February 2nd. I want to introduce our two guest speakers that are here tonight who will be speaking with us about how their units do these activities. To my left is Mike Tylicki. He is committee member for Pack 3513 in Brunswick. Welcome.
Thank you,
And you're like many of us here. I know you wear many hats in scouting. I know you're with Troop 407, also in Brunswick. You were on the council training committee for an eternity. Any other hats that you wear in council? You were on Wood Badge, I know.
Yes, I was on Wood Badge staff. That's it for right now. Possibly shortly be a committee member or assistant scoutmaster at Troop 513 in Brunswick as well.
We're hoping that happens. I should probably get this out of the way now. Hi, Henry. Your dad's on the internet. Just like I told you the other day, your dad's on the internet. So hi, Henry. Next to Mike is Jeff Schuster. He is the Cubmaster for Pack 3520 in Hinckley. Welcome.
Thank you.
Do you wear any other hats besides Cubmaster? I know you've got a pretty big pack that takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, I'm currently the AOL den leader as well, and I serve at the district level in a variety of roles whenever I can fit it in.
And I know you also help out with, you're on the Roundtable committee with me, helping out with the planning of all of these soirees that we put on here.
Yep.
So, all right, let's talk about Scout Sunday. So first, do either of your packs do anything for Scout Sunday? Jeff, you're nodding your head.
Yeah,
yes.
we do. We certainly try to encourage it. We're chartered with Our Lady of Grace in Hinckley, and we do our best to participate in a formal role. Like this year, we'll be serving Mass that Sunday, and handing out bulletins and stuff like that. And then for those scouts and families who don't attend our charter organization but maybe somewhere else, we kind of explain every year. I kind of give a rundown. What is Scout Sunday? What does it mean? How can you participate? Encourage them to take that to whatever organization that they're a part of.
Now, do you also have, will you have scouts that may be altar servers? Will you have them maybe serve on the altar for that Mass, possibly?
We have not so far.
Okay.
There's been some of that's a little bit of an age thing.
Okay.
That they just aren't quite there yet, and I don't know if Father's quite ready for
I know, and every
the
parish
wolves
is
to
different.
show up and be altar servers.
Right.
But
Every parish is different on how when they start altar boys.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So I don't know. We have not since I've been a part of the unit. We've kind of restricted to serving a little bit, and then after the service, they can go down and serve donuts and stuff like that.
Yeah. Now you're chartered to St. Ambrose in Brunswick. Refresh me. Do you guys? I know you've done Scout Masses, at least in the past.
Yes.
But
So
do we do anything for Scout Sunday itself?
We've not recently done anything specifically for Scout Sunday, but we generally do a Scout Mass once a month, where the youth get to walk into the church with Father. They help bring the gifts in, and so forth. They sit up front in one of the first two pews of the sanctuary, so they're front and center. They're in their uniforms, and then they can socialize with the congregation afterwards.
Yeah, that's good. And as well, I know since we do a lot of with your pack, we know that priests will even come out to Manitowoc during campouts and say Mass on Saturday evenings a lot of times.
Yep. So that's something that
that's a good relationship.
It's a good relationship we have with our at the priests at our parish. So they come out both at our spring and our fall campouts on Saturday afternoon and do a service for us. So which the youth really enjoy because the Father generally, whichever one comes out, generally does a really good job of making sure that the homily and the Mass is centered around something that the youth can understand especially with them being anywhere from kindergarten to 5th grade.
Yeah. A lot of times, if they know, they're not going to say the traditional homily that might be said that Sunday. They're going to tailor it to the little ones that are there, which is good, because otherwise they lose interest pretty quickly.
Yes, and it helps them get a good relationship with the priest as well, that then fosters as they cross over into the troop and whatnot. Because our parish is very supportive of Eagle projects when they cross over to the troops, and they're working on that stuff. So the relationship they're building from Scout Sundays and Scout Mass, and then also at the campouts when they come out to do Mass for us, just continues to build that strong relationship we have with the parish.
So both of your packs are chartered to Catholic churches. I know already the answer for 35. I'm assuming that not every member of your packs are Catholic. I know for a fact that in 3513. I'm assuming that's probably the same in your pack.
Absolutely.
So how do you handle non-Catholics? Do you encourage them to attend Mass anyway, or do you tell them go to whatever church service it happens to be for whatever religion you happen to be, or how do you guys handle those conversations?
That's the tack that I've taken. I am not a member of that parish personally, and I would say it's in our unit, it's probably actually the minority that's a member of that parish, and so that's been the direction I've taken, is go where you're actively engaged at that time, and seems to be the best approach so far that we found.
Yeah, it sounds like the point is more the fact that they're going to Mass or to church service.
To be sure, but we also don't hide the fact by any means that we're chartered there.
Oh, of course, yes.
So at our larger pack functions, stuff like that, Father and several of the deacons are usually in attendance at Blue and Gold and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So we're not, and we serve the church throughout the year in other ways.
Right.
We do service projects and mulch the grounds in the spring.
Yeah.
So we certainly don't hide that fact, but it's definitely not the primary driver.
Right.
I'm kind of saying go wherever you're already comfortable. And that's,
Sure. And I'm sure 3513 is pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same way. So we are predominantly members of that parish, but we do have members that are not. So my family is not a member of that particular parish. We're members of another parish in Brunswick. But we've got non-Catholics as well that we make a point in saying it's part of our duty to God. You can come join us at the parish that we're at, or at wherever you take from your duty to God and your personal beliefs. That's what we're really looking to encourage is that reflection and that reverence.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can tell from all the nods, and you were obviously a scout as a youth. Were you as well?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do any Scout Sunday activities with your packs and troops when you were scouts?
Oh, yeah.
Anything different about how you did them back then versus today, or pretty much the same?
No, I would say I probably was one of the kids who I wasn't raised Catholic either. And I was in a very strong Catholic troop as well, 526 in North Royalton. And so I was one of the 3 kids who would be at Mass but didn't really know how to participate or anything like that. So we were going, and when we were, camping and away traveling, we would find somewhere to go to Mass.
Right.
So I was definitely very involved in that. And even then, all those years ago, more than I care to admit anymore, it was never forced or anything. It was just, you just participated and you just did
I think
what you did.
that's what it is. It's just,
Yeah.
we're here, and even if you just sit and quietly reflect for some time, that's, because my troop growing up, I'm Catholic, but we were chartered to a Presbyterian church. And I think there was only maybe one family in the whole troop that was congregants at the Presbyterian church. So, Scout Sunday was really different because everybody scattered everywhere to whatever, it happened to be. But, we would at least try, they said, well, if you could at least come to the service for Scout Sunday, and then if you want later, you can go to your services wherever, so that at least they could see, the scouting presence at the chartered organization. Because, like you guys have both said, it's good to have that connection, and the people that are there, the other congregants, the other parishioners can see, yeah, scouting is active here, and
Yeah, and I think
we really are doing things.
that's what I remember from being a youth too. So as a youth, I was actually a member of 3520, and at that point they were actually chartered at the Lutheran Church in the center of Hinckley. The troop was over at Our Lady of Grace, the Catholic Church, but the pack was chartered at the Lutheran Church at that point in time before it moved charter orgs as well. But it was the same kind of thing. Not many members of the pack were actually members of that church at the time. So it was kind of do your own thing, but there was a little emphasis. Hey, this is Scout Sunday, so they support us. So if you could come to the church service this Sunday and be present for it. And then I know my oldest son went through a different pack. He did not go through St. Ambrose, the 3513. He went through 3407, which and 3409 in Brunswick, which one of them was chartered to the Methodist Church. And there that unit did do a big thing with Scout Sunday. So there was a large PowerPoint with pictures and everything that we recapped the year that they played during the Mass, so that the whole congregation could see, hey, this is what the youth have been doing for the last year. This is what Scouts is about. They'll be downstairs serving donuts after Mass and so forth. Please go ahead and talk to them and find out what they're doing and support them from that standpoint. So kind of run the gamut there on experiences on Scout Sunday.
Now we know, and I guess this is a question to those that are watching that may be a part of this too. Obviously, you're both traditionally chartered units. You're still using the traditional charter system we've had for 115 years, but we know that nearly 40% of our units in this council are chartered to Great Trail Council. So they don't even have a chance to be chartered to a religious institution. Because I mean, that's typically the majority. If you're traditionally chartered, it seems to be that you're probably going to be chartered to a church more likely than not. So a question for everybody out there, even if you want to add it in the chat, is if you're not chartered to a church or anything, what are some ways that you can observe Scout Sunday when you don't have a church as your chartered organization, chartered partner? So it's kind of hard for us because we have that relationship with the church, but we know that not every unit does. So okay. Next, we've got time now for our second hot topic, and it's about the planning for your PAC's Arrow of Light crossovers to Scouts BSA. That's going to be starting pretty soon. We're back here with Mike and Jeff, so let's talk about how your PACs handle crossovers. I mean, there's obviously no right or wrong way. Every PAC does it differently. I mean, there's no set of instructions that says you must do it on this date and you must do it this way. So, Mike, we'll start with you. How does 3513 do it?
3513, we do the ALL crossover during blue and gold.
Okay.
So we'll have our blue and gold usually end of February, beginning of March generally, from that standpoint, timing-wise, and we've incorporated into that particular event. So we'll run our normal blue and gold, have our normal blue and gold kind of dinner or potluck and entertainment and so forth, and then we'll kind of end this ceremony with doing our crossover. So we'll make sure that we've got invites out to the troops that the Scouts are crossing over to from that standpoint, and invite them in to bring either their SPL and hopefully their Cubmaster or their Scoutmaster and a couple other Scouts to receive them. And then we'll make sure we've got a bridge that we have them ceremoniously cross over, and they get received by the troops, and then we celebrate with them afterwards.
And I've been to a couple of your blue and golds. I've always said it reminds me a little bit of a wedding reception because all of the Arrow of Lights are sitting up front at a head table, like the bridal party is up there for the
Yes, so
they're the focus at that point.
They're the focus, and they generally are the ones who pick the theme for the blue and gold, and then generally we try to have the Weeblos parents then actually do the coordination of it, so that the ALL parents can just be part of the experience with their youth that day from that standpoint. So we kind of try to pass that down every year and say, okay, now ALL parents, you're going to go ahead. Here's the theme that the ALLs have picked. Kind of run with that theme from that standpoint. We've had Star Wars theme and whatnot, but then it all, like I said, generally ends with the crossover ceremony and that very ceremonial crossing over and removing neckerchiefs, removing epaulets, and putting new troop neckerchiefs on, new epaulets and whatnot. And then for those, because we have had those who've not crossed over into a troop, we do celebrate them too. They may not be crossing into a troop, but we do celebrate the end of their time with the pack from that standpoint. And we kind of use that also to kind of show them where those other scouts are going and whatnot, in hopes of also that might be another way to kind of show them that, hey, rethink a little bit.
Yeah,
maybe
just because they said no now doesn't mean it's no forever.
Yep, and we make sure that they know that they can always come back, that it's not a one and done decision.
Right. Well, we've had, I know Steve Myers is back there working the controls for us. You know, he's talked about those that don't cross over because they're very active in sports. We've found that, Steve, help me, what's the number? They're all gung-ho about sports, and then by the age of 12, it's like 75% or something like that are done with sports. You know, they thought they were going to be the starting second baseman for the Guardians, and then they found out that they can't hit a curveball, and other kids are bigger, stronger, faster, and they're done. And you know, maybe that's the time that we go back to those kids and say, we're still here. There's still time. You know, have you thought about maybe coming back now that you're not doing sports? And that's across the board. So that's not even just scout age kids. You know, they find 75% of all kids by the age of 12 are done with sports.
Yeah.
One thing I know that you guys also do is, I've seen, I'm sure you've started Henry's already.
Oh, yes.
The families do shadow boxes with all of their memorabilia.
So one of the cool things that 3513 does that I think is pretty amazing is that the families will build a shadow box that has a bunch of memorabilia from their time as a Cub. So generally, if they've got an older shirt, a uniform shirt that they've grown out of, it's in there. All their belt loops are displayed around inside the shadow box. Pinewood Derby cars, rocket cars, 2-liter bottle, anything that they've done through their time with the pack, we try to incorporate into those shadow boxes from that standpoint, and they're gifted to the youth as they at the end of the ceremony and whatnot as their token of everything that they've accomplished. And I know a lot of scouts that I've talked to that have crossed over into troops, and it's on the wall in their bedrooms. Being more involved with 513, that unit, talking to scouts who have aged out, still have their shadow boxes on their wall and whatnot, as a great memento of things that they've done in the scouting program. So yes, we've started to build Henry's box. We'll probably really get into it here in the next month.
It's probably going to be a crate by the time.
Yes, he's done so much. So, but yes, that's something that we do, that we incorporate into our crossover ceremony, is those shadow boxes.
And they're very cool to look at, to just go see, and you remember a lot of those events. They say, oh, I remember that. That was 5 years ago already?
Yes.
So yeah, those were a lot of fun. So Jeff, talk about what 3520 does.
Yeah, I think we're a little more simplified is probably the word I'd use for that. Those are both some really good ideas. The shadow box is the first time I've heard of that. That's a really, really cool thing. Cool. I'm gonna need some pictures of that for sure. So we have in the last 3 or 4 years done it at Blue and Gold and not done it at Blue and Gold.
Okay.
So it kind of depended on the year and the schedule. We've moved the month of Blue and Gold around. That one year was too early. And it just was, we just weren't done, so we had to have a separate thing.
I was going to say, is it a timing thing to finish up Arrow,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah, absolutely. Is a timing, it could be a timing thing that drives that, to be sure. And we've got a bridge, and we put together, not something like a shadow box, I would love to see that, but we do put a plaque together and have some stuff on it. We definitely do that, and I try to make, if we do it, the crossover at the Blue and Gold, let's say, and you're at the Blue and Gold for 2 hours. The crossover section that's going to be it's going to be a decent amount of it. It's going to be because there needs to be a lot to it, and you got to put on a show a little bit, because what I've noticed is that everything's fine. The parents are fine. Everybody's fine until the lights in the room come down and the candles go a little bit and they're lined up over here. And you watch one at a time, it hits those AOLs. Whoa, what's going on right now? So you need to lean into that a little bit, because
Get the boxes of Kleenex.
Yeah,
ready.
like you need to lean into that. And they need to understand it. They need to be prepped for it a little bit. You can't just spring that on a fifth grader, right? But they need to be prepped for this is really something. I know that you haven't thought about it because you're doing your homework and you're worried about Minecraft and all the other things that you're doing. But like this is a big deal.
Yeah.
And you'll watch the parents, it'll kind of hit them right in that moment. Like, wow, we've been doing this as a family for years now. And it's really, wow, it's coming to an end.
Yeah.
And so you do have to make a little bit, we have a ceremony, a script, and all that stuff like that most units probably do. But I think really that's where it lies is kind of leaning into that moment a little bit. I personally like to have a quiet moment because we'll have each one of them cross over the bridge one at a time, of course. They're
Sure.
not just all going to. But when that scout is on the other side of the bridge and they're getting everything done and the troops putting the neckerchief on them,
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention to that. I'm zeroed in on the next AOL. And I'm
Right.
having a moment with that scout right
Yeah.
there, and I'll usually be talking to him kind of quiet.
Yeah, because once they've crossed that
once
bridge,
they cross,
you're not their Cubmaster anymore. Once they've crossed that bridge.
and I know that there are a lot of Cubmasters out there that are going to know that once you've had a kid in your unit for 3 or 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
you're sad to watch them leave.
Sure.
You're emotional in that moment, going like, man, I remember when you showed up here as a lion. I remember when you showed up as a tiger.
And they were
I remember,
they were this tall.
I remember
Yeah.
you running up to me and so proud, showing me whatever you were doing at day
Yeah.
camp. And they become your own kids. They're your own kids.
Yeah.
And so, we do like to, I'm switching gears real quick. We do like to going to your thing about inviting the school teachers and stuff like
Yes.
that. We always have the trustees of our township are usually there. The father will be there, and sometimes some of the other staff of the church is going to be there. We'll try to make it a wider group that's in the room. Whatever troops that our scouts are crossing over to, obviously they're going to have their own, representatives that are there. They'll have a handful of scouts and a scoutmaster or something. And we just try to make it a nice event.
Yeah, and especially, now with the new Cub program, Arrow of Light is now a rank, just like Wolf and Bear. But when we were all in, that it was an award.
Yeah.
And it was the highest award in Cub Scouts. So you would always tend to make a big deal out of that because, it's kind of like saying it's the Cub Scout equivalent of Eagle Scout. It's the highest that you can get in Cub Scouting.
Right.
And so you should make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how you talked a little bit. What sort of involvement do you have with the troops that they'll be crossing over to? Obviously, you invite the troops to come. Is it kind of similar to how 3513 does it, where you'll do the changing of the neckerchiefs and the
Absolutely.
the tabs,
We've
the loops?
there is no partner like 520.
Right.
Is no longer, hasn't been for a few years. So our scouts have been going to several different units, depending on gender and stuff like that, or location. So we just try to keep I personally am dual registered with another unit right now as well, but it's just been, that's just kind of an advisory thing.
Yeah.
And
So you're inviting them to come, however many troops that happens to be.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're
right,
receive
because
them.
through that transition, you're gonna try to expose the AOL scouts to as many units as you can, so that they can make a choice of what's best for them.
Right.
And so through that, they know what our calendar is, they know approximately, and right about this time of year, maybe January, February, you're starting to get some of those like, well, how many are we planning on, or what's the date of your blue and gold? You guys share that with those units, so that you can't spring it. You can't spring that on them. You can't say, oh, by the way, our blue and gold's next week.
Exactly.
Like you can't do that.
They
gotta.
They need to know by now if they haven't learned about it already.
They absolutely. They need to know by now what's going on. And I just share our calendar directly with the couple of units that we've historically worked with. They know what we're doing all the time, and so that's how we handle that.
Yeah, that's good. Do either of you, I mean, you kind of sort of do it with the shadow boxes, but do either of your packs do any sort of like a going away gift to the Arrow of Lights? Like when I was a Cubmaster many, many years ago, we used to get the Arrow of Lights. It was an actual arrow.
Yeah.
I found online there was some Native Americans in Arizona that made authentic,
Really?
handmade arrow. I mean, the natural wood shaft, and they had turkey feathers for the fletch, and they had hand-carved arrowheads that they had, hand attached on. I mean, it was as authentic as you could get, and they really seemed to like that. So I didn't know if there was anything.
Yeah, so we kind of have a conversation at the committee level to figure out from a budgeting standpoint from there, and then we talk to the parents and kind of figure out is there something that's unique or fitting to that particular group. A lot of times it is. We'll do some type of ceremonial arrow that same thing, like someone who we found online that is a Native American, and it comes with authenticity and everything. Or we've done other things as well that are just fitting to that particular set of youth that it just fits them very, very well. Like the unit that had Star Wars theme or whatnot, I think they may have ended up with some type of Star Wars thing that represented their gift from the pack as our token of their time with the unit.
Makes sense, yeah. Jeff, Mike talked about it a little bit. So how does your pack handle arrow of lights that are not crossing over to a troop? I'm assuming that you're still doing all the recognition, but when it comes time for the crossover portion of the ceremony, do you do anything to recognize that, like Mike had talked about, your journey's kind of done here, but...
Yeah, we have actually not had anyone in the last several years that hasn't crossed over.
That's good.
My first year as Cubmaster, we had 2 or 3 that didn't out of that group of 6 or 7. And if I remember correctly, we still had them cross over, like they still went over the bridge. Like they were just as much of an arrow of light as the rest of them.
Sure.
So I approached that with they just weren't getting received on the other side. Right, but they still needed to have that.
They crossed over the
same
bridge, and their time in the pack had come to an end.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that was how I approached that.
Sure.
And I think that's how I would approach it the next time that happens, right?
Yeah.
We just haven't had that in the last few years.
That's actually good. We were talking about this just before during dinner that the numbers show, at least for this year, that about 75% of those scouts that earn Arrow of Light end up crossing over to a troop. So for those troops that might be listening, there's 25% out there that you can, still go after that didn't cross over into Scouts of BSA. Maybe you can talk to them about that. The new Cub program that just started this past June, how has that affected completing AOL by February or March like they'd like you to, and your program planning?
So for 3513, I'd say it's not had too much of an impact. We'd always strive to really be done by the February timeframe to get them over to troops. So we've not really seen too much. I know that there are other units I've been involved with and are still kind of touch base with. It's been a little bit of a challenge because they didn't cross until April or May.
Yeah.
So that becomes a real challenge to try to speed the program up and get them there from that standpoint. But we'd always tried to make sure we got them into the troop as quickly as we could so they had enough time to adapt before summer camp.
I was just about to say.
That was always my driver, especially being ahead of time as a Scoutmaster with my oldest son. And I always wanted to make sure we got those crossovers as quickly as we could into the unit so that way we could build rapport with them in the troop. They felt comfortable with us, especially then when we take them away for a week, because most of them have never been away from home for that long without a parent or guardian. So
yeah, and that's really important because I work at the troop level too, and they need that time in the troop before summer camp. Yes. You don't want their first outing with the troop, like you said, to be a week out at summer camp away from their families.
Yep. Because,
you can deal with the homesickness in an overnight weekend camp out, but now you're out for 7 days, 6 nights. That's a little harder. Fortunately, we camp at Manitowoc, but if you're camping at, say, Seven Ranges or out in Toledo or Columbus, where you're not a half hour's drive away like you are to Manitowoc, that gets to be a little harder.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing in that is that your AOL leaders making sure they really kick that AOL program off right away in June and July, and don't wait until the school year starts, like PACs traditionally do. is that those AOLs, in order to really hit that January, February timeline to be done with the advancement stuff, really need to start working on that immediately in the summer via den meetings or hitting day camp, coming to Weeble's Adventure Camp, things of that nature to make sure that it's designed that way.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It was purposely designed to make sure that they jump right into that at the beginning of the summer, and as long as they can take an adventure a month and be done by that February time frame, and you're not rushing and whatnot. This year, I think, was a challenge for a lot of us because it was the first year of that new program, and trying to figure out, and especially if you were a program that didn't necessarily do a lot of stuff over the summer. Now that kind of, in order to do it the right way, or the way that I believe is the right way for them to do it, is jump into it right away and really meet with your den during the summer in June, July, and August, and have those activities.
And we've seen that in some of the social media posts that people around the country have been making where, you know, they don't send their kids to troops until May or June. And, you know, as a troop leader, you're like, no, please don't. We need them earlier than that. But, you know, there's like, well, it goes until the end of the school year, so darn it, we're going to keep them until then. And, you know,
I think it's advantageous, especially if you look at some of the adventures that they can knock out in the summer. It preps them to really go visit those troops then in August, September, October timeframe when they're doing their fall campouts and the weather is still, for the most part, decent in Northeast Ohio.
It is Northeast Ohio, so you never know.
You never know, but then they've got some exposure, and then if they decide they want to visit multiple troops and whatnot, they've got a runway there in order to visit multiple troops, do their activities and whatnot, and see what that program is all about. So, like I said, I think that's the biggest thing, is kind of adapting to making sure you're really jumping into that program right away in June when the scouting year turns over, so that way that they're ready for February to cross over to troops and succeed.
Plus, Henry wants to go to Wright-Patterson with us in March, so he's got to cross over before then.
Yes, my son needs to cross over before then so he can go on the troop
Wants to go to the Air Force Base with us. Jeff, how's it been with your pack as far as the new program with Arrow Lights?
So I'm the guy that Mike is describing that waited until the school year started. And it actually hasn't been as bad as I anticipated. I feel like in reality we were starting that early September, if I'm fair to myself, as the also AOL den leader at the same time. You know, I grappled with that change because it really takes more time than it used to. It really does.
It does.
To do it right. I mean, you can go ahead and, you know, nobody listening, don't do that. Do it right, right? Do it right and do it as it's designed and give the program, because the program's actually very good. It's got a lot of good content in it that I believe is they accomplished their mission with the new Cub Scout program.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to chew on there for a fifth grader compared to before.
Yeah.
And so I think you got to give that its due and run it correctly. And I will personally start a little earlier next year than we did this year, but we're still going to be fine for about that March timeframe. And it was definitely a challenge when I kind of absorbed the enormity of the issue. It's not too daunting, but I would encourage everybody just plan and incorporate it and change. It was a massive change, and all of our collective muscle memory has to change with it.
Yeah.
And we'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
And it sounds like that the goals that they have with it, which was to make it simple and easy, where you didn't need to be a junior lawyer to understand the requirements. You know, pick 2 out of column A and pick 3 out of column B in order to complete requirements.
Right.
Now it's just
do that.
Just do these things and move on.
The biggest impact, even away from any of the AOL conversation, which we're talking about now, is the program in its totality has, as a Cubmaster, I spent one of my Wood Badge tickets on creating a curriculum that lined up correctly to try to keep my pack working on something that looked like the same thing at a time.
Yeah.
And then the next year they come out with
And the
this
program.
and I'm like, all right, well, at least it's done for me
Yeah, they
now.
listen-
Like, this
they
isn't
listen to
bad.
you, yeah.
And so, no, but seriously, it's worked.
Yeah.
And our pack is moving all smoothly in the same direction at the same time.
Because
And
they
it's been wonderful.
designed the same adventure across
It's-
all ranks.
it's been really good.
But the requirements are age appropriate, but
Yes.
yet can still all be done together.
They can. And then I can go and as a Cubmaster, one of the things that I do is I create a pack curriculum every year for my pack. And every month I'm sending my leaders, this is what we're working on, here's your links to where you are on the website, and by the way, this is what we're working on at the pack level that supports what you're doing in the dens. So that you're able to curate that, you're able to build a curriculum like that so that everybody's just moving along, and this new program works well. You just need 2 more months than you used to. It's an AOL, and just accommodate and move on.
Yeah, yeah, and if they can get some stuff done, even if it's electives over the summer months, whether that's at day camp or overnight camp, that can certainly help them along the way. One last thing on the crossover topic. So both of you do your crossovers at your blue and gold for the most part. Is the entire focus of your blue and gold on the Arrow of Lights, or do you do, so you're both shaking your heads, so you do the other ranks and you present awards and belt loops and everything for the other ranks? Do you try to get them to finish their rank badge by the blue and gold, or go until the end of the school year?
No, generally, we set a goal sometimes saying it would be nice if they got the required ones done by blue and gold, but we generally try to save that as a separate ceremony we do at the May PAC meeting.
Okay.
And the May PAC meeting, we do
100%.
rank up and all that, where they say, we bring the bridge out again, or we go to a park that's got a bridge and we do a whole ceremony with that from that standpoint. But we do normal belt loops and awards and whatnot at the blue and gold, and then we try to keep the side of it just for the AOLs.
Yeah, we actually don't. When we've done a combined crossover and blue and gold, I have not done a regular advancement ceremony at the same time, so that it wasn't just 2 hours of do that. Usually we'll do some sort of activity, dinner, obviously.
Yeah.
And that is my one time a year that I try to recognize my leaders that are volunteering. So I'm going to be doing stuff for my leaders. They're going to get recognized in some of their certain ways, and then we'll kind of leave the AOLs as the star of the show. But it's not all about them.
Right.
And then I'll do a separate thing. Usually the following month, like right after that, we're doing a big thing, and then we'll, at the end of the year, that's when they're ranking up.
Yeah, and I think it depends how big the pack is too.
Sure.
Because right now you've got a perfect storm of a problem with 50-some
got
youth
50
right
some
now.
youth. Right,
From that
right.
standpoint, 35-13, we were low for a little bit.
Yeah, you're in the 30s
We're
now.
in the 30s now, so that made. I think last year actually we still had our normal pack meeting on Wednesday, and then we had blue and gold on Saturday. I think at regular pack meeting we did the normal advancement stuff because same thing. It's just a long time in order for them to be there from that standpoint, and really want to give those ALLs the limelight, in the spotlight on them for crossing over, and then to your extent, calling out those adults and doing that adult recognition as part of that crossover. Because we definitely do some special things for the adults too that are leaving the unit at that point in time, whether they're crossing over.
Kind of like you will be doing.
Yes, whether they're crossing over with their youth to help out at the troop level, or if they're taking that time to take a step back from that standpoint, we still want to celebrate what they did and the impact that they had on the pack as well.
Do you guys do any sort of special entertainment or anything? When I was a Cubmaster, one year we brought in Jungle Terry. One year it was the Chinese Dragon team or whatever.
Yeah, that's what we do. We always have some sort of entertainment or activity for everybody, and then we'll do We always bring in something like that.
Same thing,
You
yeah.
do the same thing.
Same thing. Yep.
No Father Bob singing karaoke.
No Father Bob singing
That's a good
karaoke.
thing. Nothing, no offense, Father Bob, but you can keep the singing to mass. Then. All right, great discussion. I'm looking over. I don't see any hands raised for questions from the chat. So up next, we have our district program moment. And we basically just want to remind everyone of the district Pinewood Derbies that will be coming up later this year. So we've got that slide that we can put up for that. Just again, to just keep you in mind of the dates that are coming up. Stambaugh is in March, and then Canal, Soaring Eagle, and Crooked River are going to be in May. A lot of them yet, the locations are still to be announced, but just want to keep those dates out there. Do you guys let your Arrow of Lights do one last Pinewood, even if you have it after they've crossed over?
Yes.
If they want?
We do ours in January,
So
we always
perfect
make
then.
it in before they leave.
Perfect then, okay. We did want to remind everyone that in addition to the Pinewoods, at the district level, there is now an elective adventure that can be earned by all Cub Scouts for participating in a Pinewood Derby or a Raingutter Regatta, whichever your pack decides to hold. The main requirement, as you can see on the slide there, is quite simple. Build and race a car or boat. Now the requirements get a little more detailed the older that you get. Like for instance, Webelos have to also learn about friction and how that affects your car, which basically means graphite the heck out of the wheels and axles. We all know about that. But this, along with the outdoor adventure, they're probably the easiest adventures to obtain because it's really just build and race a Pinewood Derby car or build and race a Raingutter Regatta boat. Can't get much simpler than that, and your scouts can all get a pretty easy adventure belt loop or pin. All right, up next now is our council program moment, and we wanted to have a discussion with Mike and Jeff, and maybe kind of brief, but to talk about Cub Scout freeze-outs. So you can see the dates there for the Cub Scout freeze-outs that are coming up, which is basically in a month from now. February 1st and 8th, depending on your district, and they're either going to be Manitowoc, Butler, Stamba, or the famous to-be-announced location. But we talked earlier, you guys had said that you haven't participated in the freeze-outs at the district level. It's kind of new, at least for Soaring Eagle. I think last year or the year before might have been the first year that it was done.
Right.
I did get some information, because right now the information is still being worked on by the districts. Each district is responsible for putting on their own freeze-out. I did get information today from our fine people over in Canal District. This is the first year for them for that, but they did get us back to some information. So if you're in Canal District, we have some details for you. It is going to be over at the Canal Corral, since it's kind of Western themed. It's high noon at the Canal Corral. Check-in is at 8:30, and activities will be from 9 to 1. There won't be any food served, so bring a bag lunch. There's going to be a number of different activities. Every district is going to be different, so don't take what one district is doing as gospel as what every other district is doing. But in Canal, they're going to be panning for gold / gems. They'll be doing barrel racing. You'll be able to make a harmonica, and there will be knot and rope tying. And they talked about a roping event, so maybe they'll have some of the older ones maybe do some lassos. Yeah. You never know with that. But
that'll be the leaders trying to collect the kids.
That's what exactly. That'll be the leaders trying to lasso all the kids together at the end of the day from all the craziness. So it's going to be different at every district. Check the website in the coming days and weeks. Registration will be opening soon. The event is included in the adventure fee. So there is no charge to attend the event because that was included in the adventure fee. Okay, finally tonight, since we've been talking about the Pinewood Derby so much the last few months, we wanted to share with you this really cool contest that we saw in Scout Life magazine that is open to Cub Scouts nationwide. And we've got a slide that we're going to show for that. I believe we've got it. Maybe we don't have it. No, we don't have it. I forgot to put that in there. I'm sorry. But we'll get that up on the Roundtable page. Anyway, the way that it works is Zachary Trinkle, he is a former Cub Scout that now races in NASCAR's ARCA series. He is having a contest to decorate his car for the race at Rockingham Speedway on April 19th. Now to enter, you take a photo of your Pinewood Derby car and you'll send it into Scout Life magazine. Again, we'll get all this information up on the Roundtable page on the website by the end of the night tonight. If you win, you're going to get a prize pack from Zachary that includes your car, Pinewood car's design will be on his race car for the April 19th race. Your name will be on the passenger name rail. You'll get 4 pit passes to Rockingham, and all of your travel expenses will be paid to get you to Rockingham, North Carolina for that weekend. The details are going to be, like I said before, they will be on the website, gtcbsa.org/roundtable. And you never know, your Pinewood Derby car can win. I mean, what a cool contest.
That's really
That's
cool.
really cool.
Yeah.
Design, your Pinewood Derby car could end up on a NASCAR vehicle. All right, well, that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank our speakers and all of our others who helped us behind the scenes. Our next Cub Roundtable will be right back here on YouTube Live on Thursday, February 6th, just 2 days before our organization's 115th birthday. To close out tonight, we have a video showing some of the fun that you can have in scouting. Videos like this and more are available to units to use at your recruiting events and social media. You can contact us on the Council Commissioners page, or you can also contact your district commissioner or unit commissioner for information on accessing those videos. Thank you for all that you do for scouting. We'll see you on the trail. Good night, everyone.
I'm feeling real good cause today is a good day. I got a big surprise and I'm gonna send it your way. I'm gonna send it your way. It's a wonderful time, everybody let's celebrate. Get down, get down. I'm feeling real good cause today is a good day.
Thank you for all your hard work and dedication in supporting the Boy Scouts of America.
Thanks for helping venturers like me.
Hi, Mom.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Feeling real good cause today is a good day. I got a big surprise and I'm gonna send it your way. I'm about to send it your way. It's a wonderful time, everybody let's celebrate. I'm feeling real good cause today is a good day. Come on. I'm feeling real good. Yeah, I said I'm feeling right. I'm feeling real good. That's right. I'm feeling real good. Hey, yo, I'm feeling right. I'm feeling real good.
I told you.
I'm feeling real good cause today is a good day. I got a big surprise and I'm gonna send it your way. I'm gonna send it your way. It's a wonderful time, everybody let's celebrate. Throw your hands up, throw your hands up. I'm feeling real good cause today is a good day.